So we are underway, and it's going to be Caprice Coleman starting things off against Christopher Daniels. And you see ACH on the outside of the ring as well. It's going to be part of this new formation. These three young, up-and-coming, high-flying stars. There's Daniels with some comic book style moves there. And now hitting that enziguri. Just the stomps to the back of Coleman. Now Daniels hitting that, oh, it's like a reverse DDT onto the knee for the backbreaker, then turn it into a neck breaker. Coleman fights his way back to his feet though, and he gets Daniels up in that suplex. Coleman bringing Daniels to his feet. Now Irish whipping him into his corner. Looks like he's going to bring Alexander in here. And they do that big over the top slam on Daniels. There's the leg drop by Cedric Alexander. Oh, and there's the boot to the calf there by Daniels, giving enough time to bring Kazerian into this match. And there's the trip by Alexander on Kazerian. Referee distracted by ACH, not quite sure what's going on over there. But there's Kazerian with a backdrop and then flipping back to his feet. Kazerian now just throwing Alexander into his corner. He lifts him up for a suplex, and Daniels comes across with the elbow to bring it down. There's a German suplex by Daniels now on Alexander, and Bad Influence are dominating the early part of this match. As again, ACH has the referee distracted. Daniels now bring Kazerian in. Alexander across quick enough to bring in Caprice Coleman. Kazerian with a belly-to-belly slam. Kazerian across again to bring Daniels back into the match. Coleman was caught by Daniels. Daniels hits the uppercut. But now Coleman has Daniels in the headlock and takes him over in the headlock driver. And now the standing moonsault by Caprice Coleman. He brings Cedric Alexander back into the match. Alexander has Daniels and gets him in the headlock, and then great STO style move. Over the top he goes for the springboard elbow. I think he almost caught Daniels in the face with that elbow, and there's a knee to the face. As Alexander was taking some control over Daniels there, but Daniels straight back up with a forearm. Now bring Kazerian back into the match as Alexander comes across and brings Caprice Coleman back in. The two fresh guys back in the match now as Kazerian comes running in with that running, twisting neck breaker. Drop kick there by Caprice Coleman. He brings Kazerian back to his feet. And there's the drop kick to the back. Caprice went for the enziguri, missed, and Kazerian comes back with that neck breaker. And another boot to the chest. Kazerian, not quite sure what he's trying to do there. It's more dodgy game mechanics. I think he was trying to run to his corner to make this tag as Caprice Coleman was there. Coleman comes back with that back elbow. And now standing moonsault again on Kazerian. Brings Kazerian back to his feet. As Kazerian hits that big Alabama slam style spinebuster. That's a bit of a tongue twister if I've ever heard one. Kazerian now with a neck breaker on Caprice Coleman. And now just an elbow drop, a second elbow drop, a third, a fourth, a fifth. How many elbow drops has Kazerian got in him? 6, 7, 8, 9, and here it comes. The big 10th. 10 elbow drops by Kazerian on Caprice Coleman. Kazerian distracted there by Alexander on the outside. And now we seem to be stuck in some sort of... Oh, Great move by Alexander, just tripping Kazerian. So his head slams against the mat. Kazerian reversing, they're throwing Alexander into the ring. Hits the elbow, then the leg drop. Caprice Coleman on the outside now, meeting Kazerian, throwing him into the ring. Just the elbow to the face now by Coleman on Kazerian. Coleman slides into the ring. And Kazerian just wipes him out with that huge clothesline. Roll him over for the pin. This could be all, but ACH is up on the apron. Referee distracted. That could have been 3 there. I'm sure that Caprice was down for 3. As Cedric Alexander hits the backdrop on Daniels. And Caprice Coleman with a shin breaker. Gonna go for another springboard. He does into the splash, but misses. Kazarian's up in time to avoid it. But he can't avoid that German suplex by Caprice Coleman, who now gets across and makes the tag to his fresh partner, Cedric Alexander. And now looks like Kazarian's building some momentum with this combination of moves. Now where's Kazarian going? Kazarian taking the top off the announce table. Christopher Daniels is also there. Daniels just throwing Alexander back into the ring. And now there's Kazarian with that leg drop. Not quite sure why. As ACH getting involved, throwing Kazarian back into the ring. Now Cedric Alexander now just pulling Kazarian back in. Now Irish whipping Kazarian into his corner. Oh, Kazarian fighting back though. Jumps into the corner of that forearm, and now Kazarian across to bring Christopher Daniels back into the match. As Alexander brings Coleman back in. Coleman hits the springboard. I'm not quite sure what happened there, who came out on top. I don't think it's quite what Coleman wanted. As Kazarian just spearing Alexander off the apron. And now there's Coleman with that. Oh, into the backbreaker. Lift him up into the backdrop, into the backbreaker. Could this be all? Kazarian distracted by Alexander. Go for the pin. 1, 2. Kazarian just couldn't reach in time. Alexander had him distracted. And Caprice Coleman and Alexander win their debut match here in Ring of Honor. It was that early teamwork there by Bad Influence. And this was the part where Kazarian took Alexander off the apron. And this was after the backdrop into the knee breaker. The backdrop into the backbreaker. Great victory here for Coleman and Alexander. ACH did his part. I think these 3 guys are really gonna have an influence on this future Ring of Honor. Great victory though. This would definitely push them up the tag team rankings. And as we said, match number 2 of the evening will be the debut of Hanson as he takes on Jimmy Jacobs. So here we go, we are underway with the debut of Hanson. The big man, the war machine. Unfortunately, I was unable to complete the tag team. If you are watching, Jay, Raymond Rowe is not on the PS3 community creation, so Hanson's going to have to go single for now. We have to think at some sort of a singles feud for him, maybe. As Jimmy Jacobs is getting the early advantage, but Hanson just throwing him straight over the top rope. And now Hanson joined him outside on the apron. What's he got in plan here? Picks him up and drops him on the edge of the ring, and that backdrop, that's going to do some serious damage. But Jacobs is back up, throwing Raymond back into the throwing Hanson, back into the ring. Hanson's back to his feet now, meeting Jimmy Jacobs as he comes back into the ring. And Jimmy with that spiked DDT on Hanson. Hanson again back to his feet, reversing this time with a drop toe hold on Jimmy Jacobs. Just realised how pointy his beard is. It's not moving very, that beard is not moving very dynamic away from his body, is it? I can't help but look at that beard, it just looks so funny. I'll tell you what, I might have to have Hanson after a shave, maybe get rid of that beard, as Hanson just picking Jacobs up off the ground into that power bomb. It's a really impactful move. As Hanson drops face first, and Jimmy Jacobs hits that standing shooting star, but Hanson straight back up like nothing happened. Back elbow by Jacobs. And Jacobs just picking Hanson up onto the top. He's joining him up there. Is he going to go for a superplex? This is some weight to superplex, and he's done it. Jimmy Jacobs, superplex, and Hanson going to go for the pin straight from that. That could be all. A man of his size. Oh, Hanson kicks out. And Jimmy Jacobs with a cutter. That's going to be all. Jimmy Jacobs is going to ruin Hanson's debut here. And he does. Jimmy Jacobs defeats Hanson here. Hanson with a dodgy beard. There's the superplex. Thought that was going to be all, but it was only a 2 count. Very close to being a 3. But then as soon as Hanson got back up, he got caught with the ace crusher in for the pin. The replays in the game are so stupid they're not actually going to show the finishing maneuver. But Jimmy Jacobs of Scum defeats Hanson here in Hanson's debut match. Hanson would have been hoping for a lot more here. Great win for Jimmy Jacobs though. Really pushing him in his singles career. Remember, he's currently tagging with Corey Graves for that Scum formation. But maybe there's more for him. So match number 3 of the evening is going to be Austin Aries taking on the television champion Mike Bennett, and Roderick Strong will be at ringside. And we are underway here. Can Austin Aries stretch his winning streak? He's defeated some top stars here in Ring of Honor of recent times. Notably Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, even Alberto Del Rio, or Alberto El Patron, however you want to call him. He's defeated them all in previous weeks, and now he's getting an opportunity of a non-title match against the current television champion Mike Bennett. A victory here for Austin Aries could really give him an opportunity to go for that belt as Austin Aries hits the crucifix. However, Austin's not just got to think about the man in the ring, he's got to remember that Roderick Strong is outside, and these Decade guys, it is Decade, I did check by the way, these Decade guys do seem to like to interject themselves in each other's match, trying to help the other ones come out on top. But Mike Bennett's doing a good job himself in the ring at the moment. Might not need the help of Roderick Strong as he hits that clothesline. Remember, Mike Bennett is the television champion. It's going to be no easy match for Austin Aries by any means. That's the word I'm looking for, means. Twisting neck breaker there by Mike Bennett, and then knee across the chest of Austin Aries. Ooh, Austin with a punch there. And then knee to the stomach of Bennett, and then the running single leg drop kick. And now hitting that knee drop off the top rope, and as I was saying, Roderick Strong up on the apron. Austin going for the pin, and Strong distracting the referee. That could have been a 3 count there for Aries. As Aries hits that discus forearm, brings Bennett to his feet, and hits that enziguri. And now a neck breaker by Aries. Aries is now starting to take control of this match. And there's that discus forearm. Could that be all? Going to go for the pin. 1, 2, 3, and it is. Austin Aries defeats the television champion Mike Bennett after that discus forearm. And Austin Aries continues his incredible form. And there's the forearm that finished the match. Yeah, Aries continues his incredible form in this Ring of Honor Universe mode. A victory against the television champion has surely got to put him top of the list for that championship slot. Mike Bennett on the losing side here. It's not happened in a while for him. Austin Aries on the winning side, and that has happened quite a lot recently. We're definitely going to have a look at Austin Aries versus Mike Bennett for this television championship very, very soon. So match 4 of the evening is going to be Kevin Owens, accompanied to the ring by Steve Corino, taking on Sami Zayn. And we are underway now. These two guys, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, have been at each other's throats for quite a long time now, since just after the Glory by Honor pay-per-view, where Kevin Owens blames Sami Zayn for him losing that World Championship in the Fatal 4-Way main event to Samoa Joe. After that, I think we had, I'm just going off memory now, I think we had Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn the night after the Glory by Honor pay-per-view. It ended in a Kevin Owens win, and I think the two guys shook hands. The next week, they teamed up together to face the debuting Jimmy Jacobs and Corey Graves. And it was that match where Kevin Owens turned on Sami Zayn, hitting him with 3 package pile drivers, then leaving him in the middle of the ring to fight off Corey Graves and Jimmy Jacobs on his own. Obviously, Sami Zayn could not do that after taking 3 package pile drivers. To add insult to injury, Jimmy Jacobs hit a cutter, then pinned for the victory. But ever since then, I think Kevin Owens has just been inflicting more and more damage on Sami Zayn. It was only a few weeks ago when Kevin Owens had won a match by hitting Sami Zayn with a shoulder breaker. The referee called the X. The EMTs came out, loaded Sami onto a stretcher, and as Sami was being stretchered away, Kevin Owens just took Sami off the stretcher and continued the beatdown. So there's a lot of frustration between these two. As now Kevin Owens just crushing Sami Zayn's neck against that middle rope. We do have Steve Corino here at ringside, remember, one of the members of Scum, and there is the cutter by Kevin Owens, and that's going to be another victory for Owens in this feud against Sami Zayn. And again, Kevin Owens just dominates the match. What can Sami Zayn do here to get back on top against Kevin Owens? He's just being demolished every single time. Steve Corino shaking hands with his fellow Scum teammate Kevin Owens. Again, Sami Zayn suffers a quick loss to Kevin Owens. But at least this time Kevin Owens is going to celebrate. He's not going to continue the beatdown after the bell. Surprisingly good professionalism here by Kevin Owens. So now we move into our main event of the evening. It's going to be Seth Rollins taking on Daniel Bryan. And we are underway. If you have seen last week's episode, you would have seen Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan faced each other in a submissions match, which Daniel Bryan came out on top. After the match, Seth actually challenged Daniel Bryan to another match instantly, which was a Falls Count Anywhere, and Seth went on to win that match. So both these guys picking up a victory against each other last week. Whoever wins this match will be considered obviously on top between the two. I can't imagine it will be the end of this feud by any means, but it will definitely give someone the upper hand. As Seth just throwing Daniel Bryan against the ropes. Daniel Bryan comes back though with that thump to the back. There's the backdrop by Daniel Bryan on Seth Rollins, who, if you don't know, both these guys were originally in Ring of Honor. Daniel Bryan was there very early on as Bryan Danielson, And Seth Rollins was there about sort of 2005 to 2007 roughly, and he was known as Tyler Black. They were both great Ring of Honor wrestlers. That's why they've been placed in my Ring of Honor roster here. Trying to keep things as, well, I say accurate, but trying to keep things as even as I can. Trying to boast some of the rosters up as well. Seth hits that standing shooting star press. Seth is starting to dominate the middle section of this match against Daniel Bryan. Remember, Seth picked up the second victory last week in that Full Count Anywhere match. He's now dominating this. But Daniel Bryan misses the forearm. Seth catches him with a back elbow as well. And locks him in for that sort of like a half Nelson into a backbreaker. But Daniel Bryan just flipping straight back to his feet. Seth going for the springboard and hits that knee. Hits the springboard knee to the face of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan now around the back of Seth. Spinning him, and he's going to Irish whip him into the corner. Which he does. Now Daniel Bryan are reversed. Oh, he goes over the top of Seth Rollins. And he comes running back here with the forearm. There it is. Hits the forearm on Seth Rollins. Daniel Bryan now starting to take some control. And he's locked in the bell lock. Remember, he did make Seth tap last week here in Ring of Honor television. Can he make him tap again? But Seth is getting closer to the rope. I should imagine he'll be able to grab it pretty soon. He does. Bryan breaks the hold. And Seth now fighting back with that enziguri. Going straight for the pin. One. Only a 1 count. Daniel Bryan misses the forearm. Mainly due to dodgy game mechanics again. And there's a discus forearm by Daniel Bryan. We saw that move was very effective earlier for Austin Aries. Seth Rollins fighting Daniel Bryan off. Now Seth just throwing Bryan into the corner. Spinning him around. And there's the dragon screw by Daniel Bryan. And here's the pin. Only a 1 count by Bryan on Seth Rollins though. Russian leg sweep by Bryan on Seth. Going to go for the pin. 1. Only a 1 count again. Seth doesn't seem to have taken too much damage from that submission. Now Seth locking a submission of his own, but again Daniel Bryan's very close to the rope now. Surely Daniel will be able to break the hold. Well, Seth finally breaks the hold. Bryan catches Seth in the headlock. Seth comes back and hits the drop toe hold. Rolling Bryan over for the pin. 1. Only a 1 count. These two guys seem to be getting stronger the longer the match goes on. There's the thump to the back of the arm by Daniel Bryan. And there's a Northern Lights suplex with a pin. Only a 1 count. And now he's caught Seth in that chicken wing, and Seth taps out to the chicken wing. Seth taps out to Daniel Bryan the second week running. Seth Rollins taps out to Daniel Bryan the second week running. Here's that label lock early in the match. This obviously did more damage than we originally thought, weakening Seth's arm and shoulder. And there was that forearm. But the label lock obviously did the damage, as the pain of this chicken wing was just far too much for Seth to handle. Daniel Bryan with another big victory here over Seth Rollins. Obviously he's going to push him further up the singles rankings. However, I don't think Seth Rollins is finished with him yet. But anyway guys, that is the end of this episode of Ring of Honor Television. Please check out my channel for all the other rosters that we're currently running in this universe mode. We've also got the likes of Global Force Wrestling, CZW, we've got Retro and Attitude, as well as the current day roster, so please check them out if you get the time. Yeah, I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching. If you could hit that like button, it'd be much appreciated. Thank you and goodbye.